So, folks, so I spoke about in previous videos that all of our challenges are father filtered, right? So I want to kind of build on that a little bit more. I want to expound that a little bit more, just extrapolate that a little bit more, just kind of like draw out some more meanings out of that. Now understand this, right? Whatever you go up against in life. Now I was reading Samuel. Yeah, I believe it was Samuel, and it said that and an evil spirit went out from the Lord, and the Lord allowed an evil spirit to trouble Saul. And I questioned it. I said, God sends evil spirits out to trouble Saul. That didn't make, I was kind of grappling with that a little bit. Like, why would God send out an evil spirit? Does God do? Then I studied Job, and Job says, do man expect just good from God and not evil? And I'll say it again. Job asks the question: should we just expect good from God and not evil? And as I started to do line upon line, scriptures upon scriptures, like doing the comparisons and contrast and the comparables, I start to get an understanding of what it meant. So it means this: every challenge that we're currently in, getting ready to go into, or coming out of, was sanctioned by God. And what I mean by that is, someone would probably say to me, well, does God allow, the innocent person to get hit by a stray bullet? And, does it mean God does this? Listen, Paul says in the Bible, we see through a dark glass. When the time comes, everything will be made clear. I'm paraphrasing. So there's certain things that happen that we will never fully grasp, right? Because we have finite knowledge. We're humans, and we have a finite knowledge, and we're living in a finite realm. Paul says, when that time is appropriate, we will then be made, everything will be made infinite, and then things will be clear. So suffice it to say that the challenges that we're facing, God sanctions, he approves, he allows. And these challenges, like I said, they're father filtered. They're filtered by God. So meaning, within the challenge, there's certain things that's not going to happen. There's things that are going to happen, right? He's going to allow some things to come through and challenge you, and he's going to withhold some things from challenging you according to your strength and where you are in your walk and your journey. And what's interesting is the word gauntlet. It's a glove that protects the hand of a knight or whatever. But there's a proverb that says to throw down the gauntlet or pick up the gauntlet. And to throw down the gauntlet means I call you out to a challenge, to a fight, right? I call you out to a contest, to some kind of squaring off. So I throw down the gauntlet, me calling you out. To pick up the gauntlet, which is also a proverb, to pick up the gauntlet means you would accept my challenge. You take up the offer that I present to you, which is some kind of contest, whether it's physical, boxing, a debate, anything. And I studied and read about that, the proverb of taking up and putting down and throwing down the gauntlet. And then I think about how God allows and sanctions our challenges, and understanding that based off evolution, this is where science comes in. Understanding that evolution uses these different mechanisms in terms of challenges to develop us and to evolve us to a higher species. And evolution is a mechanism of God, right? It's an apparatus of God. So there's really no distinction if you really stop and think about it. But the point I'm making is that, looking at evolution, that the natural selection, survival of the fittest, or there's so many different mechanisms, migration, there's different mechanisms, adaptation, that are used to make a species or organism fully developed, right? So I look at that, and then I look at how God allows these challenges to come into our lives, and it's the contrast and the comparison. You see the similarity. So when challenges come up on us, financial, a loss of a family member, death, sickness, illness, whatever the challenge may be, when challenges come up to us, we need to do what's called a paradigm shifting, which means we need to shift our perspective, right? We need to shift our paradigm, which is our way of perceiving the world, right? Our perception, the way we see a challenge, as opposed to seeing it as just a challenge or a difficulty or a trial or something troubling or something vexation, some kind of vexation to your spirit, to your soul. We need to shift. There needs to be a in-depth and profound shifting of our paradigm, our way of perceiving, our frame of reference, right? We need to do a paradigmatic shifting of our frame of reference so that we can see challenges not as trouble or vexation, but rather as opportunities to grow and to develop and take up the gauntlet. And taking up the gauntlet, as I mentioned in the aforementioned, that taking up the gauntlet means you accept the challenge. So folks, whatever your challenge may be, know that it's Father filtered, one, and then two, take up the gauntlet. Accept the challenge. Defying or denying or being in defiance of the challenge only makes the challenge worse. It doesn't make the challenge worse. It makes your response to the challenge worse, and therefore makes you worse, because now you're internalizing, and all of your internal entities and energies and organs and everything begins to feel the stress, the ramifications, the detrimental results of that challenge. But should you do a paradigmatic shifting, which in your frame of reference, then the challenge is now seen as not a troubling or vexation, but rather as a opportunity for you to grow, to develop. And there's always an area in our lives, in our personality, there's always a kink in your character. There's always a wrinkle in your armor. There's always a glitch in your machine. There's always a pothole in your road. So you're never complete. You're never perfect. So always understand the challenges that are Father filtered and sanctioned by God comes to develop that kink in your armor, comes to iron out the wrinkle in your character's clothes, or comes to patch up that hole in your road. So it's something in your character that challenge is there specifically for. All right. So like I said, it's Father filtered. If it came, it's because there's something specifically you need to develop. And so the question becomes, what is this challenge and what is it here for? And what part of my character, my quality, my virtue, my personality is this challenge supposed to develop? If you know that you're a patient person, this challenge is not here to develop your patience. If you know that you have anger issues, this challenge might be here to develop your control of that anger. You see what I mean? So until next time, folks, got to get back to work. Peace.